News alert to bring you right now. Fox now confirming that the FBI will blame North Korea for that massive cyber attack that forced Sony Pictures to cancel a comedy about the assassination of Kim Jong-un. The FBI is set to release an official statement within the next few hours, as there are growing concerns that our government isn't doing enough to stop North Korea and other rogue nations that may have been involved. Intelligence sources telling our Catherine Herridge that Russia, Iran, or China may have played a role. Gordon Chang is the author of Nuclear Showdown: North Korea Takes on the World. Gordon, this is perfect for you today. Let's start off with the president. He will be addressing the nation in a press conference after the FBI, as we understand it, makes its release. So what kind of weight will the president's words carry today?
Well, the president speaks for the United States, so obviously this is going to be really important for him to talk about this, because very rarely do you hear a national leader can talk about the cyber attacks against his country from somebody else.
Yeah, so what does he need to say?
He needs to say, I think, three things. First of all, to impose sanctions on North Korea like the Bush administration did in 2005, to cut the North Koreans off from the global financial system. He needs to say that we're now going to enforce Security Council resolutions prohibiting the sale of ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons. And he needs to say the word China, because China was involved in these attacks. They've been working with the North Koreans. Probably the unit that launched these attacks, this unit of North Korean cyber warriors, this one was probably in this Chinese city of Shenyang, which is about 3 hours or so from the North Korean border. And the Chinese have been training cyber warriors from North Korea.
So if that is the case, that China was somehow involved, how does that work? Does that mean that governments are directly cooperating with one another to unleash this attack on the United States?
Well, yes, certainly, because these attacks came from Chinese IP addresses. Now, because China has the Great Firewall, which is the most sophisticated set of internet controls anywhere in the world today, the Chinese could see all of this data going in and coming through their borders. So China was obviously complicit in what was going on. They knew what was occurring. These cyber warriors, as I said, were in China itself. So the conclusion is inescapable. And that's why the president can say, yeah, okay, it was North Korea, but that's only half the story.
Okay, so if he announces a new round of sanctions today or in the near future, will that do the trick? Will that get North Korea to back off? Will that prevent future cyber attacks?
Well, we hope so. It depends how severe those sanctions will be. I'm afraid, we heard Josh Earnest, the White House press secretary, yesterday saying, we worry that there are some countries that attack us and they want to get sort of a reaction from us, almost indicating that there won't be a reaction from the White House because that's good policy. And he also talked about a proportional response. Well, a response, yeah, may be proportional, but it needs to be effective. And sometimes effective responses are more than proportional. So it's really going to see what the president announces in terms of the press conference today.
Do you consider this an act of war?
It obviously is. I think it is. The Defense Department in 2011 issued guidelines on cyber attacks as active wars, ones that would justify a military response from the U.S. And what they did to Sony in terms of the damage, I think, falls within those guidelines.
This becomes sort of a complicated matter, though, if it does, in fact, include other countries, like you mentioned China. If Russia, if Iran are involved, then the bigger question is, what's the domino effect of our actions that we take? What does that mean for those countries? And do we get pulled into something even bigger?
Well, we will be pulled into something even bigger. There will be escalation, whether we do something or not. And maybe if we don't do anything, the escalation will be worse. Now, obviously, this is a big problem when you have Russia and China, big countries on the other side. But we can't ignore it. We've been ignoring this for 2 decades. We've now got to confront it. And that's why the Sony Pictures hack is very much like 9/11 in the sense it has grabbed the attention of the American people. And we now have to confront issues that we would otherwise prefer not to look at.
Gordon, you say escalation. Does escalation mean limited to cyber?
Maybe yes, maybe no.
Okay.
Escalation can be anything.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's frightening, certainly. Gordon Chang, the president, is set to speak just a few hours from now. We'll be watching that one, and I know you will as well. Thank you so much.
Thank
Eric?
you.